exocrine, so exo meaning outwards, so exocrine glands secrete fluids, body secretions to the external environment, onto the surface of the skin. So sebaceous glands, oil glands, holocrine glands, and they secrete sebum. There are two types of sweat glands, the apocrine glands and the meocrine glands, and they secrete watery secretions. So the types of sebaceous oil glands, there's the simple branched areolar glands associated with hair follicles, sebaceous hair follicles, and they discharge directly onto the skin, and also sebum, which contains lipids and other ingredients, and it lubricates and protects the epidermis, and it inhibits bacteria. So here we have the diagram of the skin. It's showing you the sebaceous follicle. It's showing you the structures of the skin with the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layer. And then it's showing you a hair follicle with the sebaceous gland attached to it. So the apocrine sweat glands are found in the armpits, around the nipples and the groin, and they produce and they secrete into the hair follicles, and they produce a sticky, cloudy secretion, and it breaks down and causes the odor. It's surrounded by myoepithelial cells, and they squeeze the apocrine glands, and they secrete the secretions onto the skin surface in response to hormonal or nervous signals. So remember back to when your first day of university, your apocrine sweat glands were working overtime in your armpits, and that's why sometimes your perspiration has a lot of odor, and sometimes it doesn't have very much odor at all. When you go out onto clinical placement, you'll be quite nervous, and you'll be aware that your apocrine glands will be secreting, and you will need to probably wear a bit more deodorant then, because you will be quite nervous and secreting a lot of sweat with odor. The meocrine glands, or sweat glands, are widely distributed across the body, especially on the palms and the soles, and they're coiled tubular glands, and they discharge directly onto the skin surface. And this is sensible perspiration, water and salts and organic compounds. And the functions of the meocrine glands is to cool the skin, to excrete water and electrolytes, because it flushes microorganisms, and it can prevent harmful chemicals from being on the skin. But on the sweaty palms, again, is under nervous control. So some of us, when we become quite nervous, can get sweaty palms. So the meocrine glands are under autonomic nervous system control. So here's another diagram showing you the apocrine glands, which are attached to the hairs, and the other sweat glands, which are not associated with hair follicles. The other glands of the integumentary system are the mammary glands, which of course produce milk to nourish the infant, and the ceruminous glands, which produce cerumen, which is earwax to protect the eardrum. So the cerumen is produced, and the hairs on the outside external auditory canal, to protect the eardrum from any invading, it could be ants, bugs, things like that, or from things that are being pushed into the ear, especially when we're looking at little children who find little beads and little bits of Lego can go into little children's ears. The control of glands, as I said before, is under autonomic nervous system control. So autonomic nervous system, so this is the autonomic nervous system is outside of our conscious control, and it controls the sweat and the apocrine sweat glands, and it works simultaneously over the entire body. And it involves the meocrine glands, which are controlled independently as well, and sweat occurs locally. Also involved in thermoregulation. The main functions of sensible perspiration is when you get perspiration forming across your forehead, that is the way your body is saying we're very hot at the moment and we need to cool down by allowing this perspiration to form on the forehead and the breeze to blow it away, and thereby causing loss of heat by evaporation. It also works with the cardiovascular system, helps to regulate body temperature. So when you are very hot, you can become flushed if you have pale coloured skin, and that flushing is another way of the body getting heat away from the central core and distributing it out through the skin, where the heat is conducted out to the external environment.